Why hello there. So I typically cover entertainment stuff on this channel, but since it's October and spooky season, I thought it would be fitting to take a look at some of the most intense, jaw-dropping, and controversial horror experiences and attractions in the United States. You'll be shocked at some of the things that people are allowed to get away with when you sign a waiver. As a minor viewer warning, we'll be covering some darker themes like torture and stuff like that, along with all the typical haunted house visuals. So if that's not your thing, then maybe this video isn't for you. Before I get started, please be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with the latest videos just like this. Also, give this video a like and let me know below if you want to see more videos like this. All the support is greatly appreciated. So, I'll be running these down in no particular order, but be forewarned, some of these are crazy. Let's go. Back in 2009, a different kind of haunted experience was presented to the public. In the streets of NYC, an immersive haunted house by the name of the Blackout Experience was created. The basis of the haunted attraction worked in the same way as your typical haunted house, requiring the participant to walk alone through a series of creepy areas in a warehouse. Along with this, there were several rules you had to follow. The only difference was that the scare factor was based on unsettling and disturbing events happening in every single room, some of which involved the participant. Like you'll see in many horror attractions on this list, the Blackout Experience allowed scare actors to touch, push, and do other things to the participant, but never intended to actually hurt the person walking through the scare. And if you're wondering, the participant was not allowed to touch the scare actor's back. Like the name suggests, the particular experience was taking place mostly in the dark or dimly lit sections, which added to the fear factor of it all. Some of the creepy and even disgusting situations included being pushed against a wall and searched police style, crawling through a tight tunnel with a dead body inside, obviously not a real dead body, having clothes taken off your body, and in some cases being told to get completely naked while they pretended to film it, being attacked by a group of thugs in which one of them used a staple gun on the participant's flesh. This of course was not really a staple gun, but simulated one, being told to scream as loud as you could, having your hands tied behind your back, being pressed tightly up against the wall almost to the point of suffocation, being waterboarded, and a bunch of other crazy and unsettling situations, all of which involve people whispering in your ear, messing with you and your head, and imagine all this being in the dark while it's happening. Before you enter the house, you must sign an extensive waiver, of course, and are giving a safe word. If you use the safe word at any point or you refuse to do what the scare actors tell you to do, the attraction immediately ends and the lights turn on. So what you get out of the experience really depends on how much you can take. What makes this one so intriguing is the visceral and realistic factor, along with the unknown of what's coming up next in the next room. Being in the dark and having your emotions, head, and body messed with is what makes for an extremely effective and chilling experience for those who could make it all the way to the other side. From the research I did, I don't think that this event or haunted house is still running today, but it made quite an impact when it came out. Next up, we have what appears to be your typical haunted house, except when it's not. Located in Winter Park, California, the 17th Door Haunt Experience touts an intense, shocking attraction. And when I say shocking, I mean literally shocking. Like Blackout, participants are required to sign a lengthy waiver before entering. This is what the waiver looks like, and just read some of the things as a sneak peek. Electric shock, lasters, water, insects, spider bites, touching, dizziness, claustrophobia, suffocation, projectile, haircuts, 100-mile-per-hour winds, just to name a few. For those who dare go through it, work their way from room to room, and experience intense sensory assaults. The name is derived from the fact that you go through 17 different rooms. Reading into some of it, two of the most intense aspects of the haunted attraction have to do with electric shocks and suffocation, both at the same time. In this particular scene, individuals are placed against the wall and basically tied up as a vacuum seal goes around them. You literally have to hold your breath for 20 seconds as you cannot breathe. On top of that, you're also electrocuted slightly every second that passes. Yeah, not great for those who are claustrophobic. Another room in question is a disgusting dead animal room, which smells horrid, and on top of that, they put dead opossums in your face before locking you in a tight closet where you're trapped. There's gas rooms, rooms, firing squads, tumbling rooms, isolation chambers, shock therapy, and so many intense sequences in the process. It is a 35-minute experience as well, which is extremely long for a haunted attraction, and one of the longest. The good part is that in this one you can actually bypass certain rooms if you're uncomfortable, or you can scream the word mercy as a safe word, and scare actors will back off or help you just skip the room and join the other group. All in all, seems like an extremely intense but pretty fun haunted attraction, and probably a lot funner than some of the others on this list. Going for more of a physical approach, we head over to Vegas with Freakling Brothers' Gates of Hell. Yeah, it's quite the name. There's that waiver again for this extreme and painful haunt. Before entering, visitors must sign a waiver due to the intense and wild activities. Once inside, you can expect to be pushed, subjected to abuse, and frequently electrocuted. These electric shocks are far from the prank-level jolt packs that you might be used to. They deliver real, painful electricity. This is what the attraction is most infamous for, with some visitors reporting negative experiences due to the electrocution, with welts and other painful cuts and bruises on the way out. However, the thrills just don't stop there. The Gates of Hell features other intense scenes like a simulated firing squad. There's even a stage scene where an actor mimics taking his own life right before your eye. While it's all fake and meant for entertainment, the realistic and graphic imagery can be overwhelming, along with all the physical aspects. If you choose to visit, prepare for an experience that's akin to being abused and tortured. It's truly a dream for thrill seekers and people who just love to be tortured. Other than that, extreme physical and psychological challenges, the Gates of Hell also offers a unique and immersive setting. The haunt takes place inside an abandoned warehouse, adding to the overall creepy atmosphere. With dimly lit corridors, eerie sound effects, and a disorienting layout, visitors can easily get lost in this nightmarish world. It's definitely one of the most extreme experiences on the list, and really is not for the faint of heart. Somehow, we're taking things up another notch and going down the rabbit hole with STAG, the Horror Experience. I don't think that this one's still going on. However, they did do an event earlier this year in February, but like Blackout, it definitely deserves a place on this list. Located in Michigan, STAG was similar in the way of Blackout and Gates of Hell, in which the main premise of it heavily involved assault, touching, being grabbed, pushed, and other sadistic actions. You must go in alone, and this one also has a safe word if you need it. Several accounts say that there were bags placed over their heads just to reveal something terrifying in front of them. You're pushed, you're dragged, you're restrained, and everything in between. What makes this unique is that the actors and the immersion within them. One of the things that set this one apart from what I was reading was the level of acting and the characters bringing another level of intensity to the experience. There's a moment when an actress would seduce the participant before making them do horrible, terrible things right after. It's a testament to how much scare actors can add to the experience. This one in particular is very intense and obviously requires a waiver to enter. There isn't a lot of footage on this one, but there's a few ads and reviews where you can kind of see what they're doing to the participants, also a staged promo where kind of previews what you can expect. STAG seems to be a contender as one of the more intense ones next to Gates of Hell and others on this list. Heading over to the state of Utah, we have one of the more interesting and creative horror experiences that brings the intensity again to another level. In the Castle of Chaos. They have a haunted house, and what's pretty cool is that they have 5 levels intensity that you get to choose from beforehand. Level 1 through 3 are pretty basic, with level 3 being that scare actors can touch you, but nothing more than that. And then 1 and 2 are basically just for the more casual haunts. Level 4 takes it up another notch with more aggression as participants can be bagged, pushed, and grabbed among other things. But it's level 5 that makes this haunt deserving of this list. What is unique about this experience is that it's an overnight event. So once you start, you have a long and brutal night ahead of you. Level 5 is a whole other level. The waiver states the following. My name is blank. I am of sound mind and body. Intense experience which is meant to create maximum intensity and stress. Water and head coverings that make breathing difficult. scratches, bruises, electrical shocks, rough handling, blindfold, submersion, intense body temperature changes, loss of consciousness, restraints of all kinds, confined spaces, demeaning acts of submission, insects, food ingestion, religious themes, hazing, I'm okay, getting dirty, wet, and cold, you may lie to me, and this event starts now and continues until sunrise. So that waiver already is absolutely crazy. The waiver is signed and you are also recorded stating that you're a willing participant. There is also said to be another number scale on top of the level 5. So in level 5 you can actually pick the intensity between 1 and 10. It's absolutely diabolical if you're going to go even a step further to level 5 and level 10. And it's after that that the real fun begins. Participants are taken to a room with a TV as sort of a common area for the night. In it are places to sit and a TV playing horror movies all night, and that sounds like a lot of fun, but throughout the night, participants are snatched, bagged, and taken to one of the many rooms where you'll witness extreme psychological and physical torture, among other things. They use real things from your background and history against you in the psychological aspect and do all sorts of unspeakable things like many others on this list. This one stands out for its insane endurance, along with the addition of the escape room, and the fact that it's an all-night scare is absolutely crazy. You have to have total sheer endurance and willpower to get through this thing. It's again the entire night. There is a safe word in this one, but it didn't necessarily mean that your experience just ends. This is one of the fascinating and more creative ones as well, and you could read some of the more in-depth reviews in the description. And finally, if we're going to talk about intensity, there's nothing quite like this last entry, McKamey Manor. Chances are that if you're watching this video, you probably have already heard of this one, but if you haven't, please take a seat and get comfy. McKamey Manor is hard to label because it really isn't like a haunted house, unlike the others on this list, where there is some kind of story and you're going from room to room. For some of these, not most, but for some of them. The scare factor in this one doesn't involve you going room to room. It more relies heavily on intense, brutal torture. McKamey Manor was started by Russ McKamey, a Tennessee resident with a military background. The haunt, if you really want to call it that, takes place in his house and is supposed to last up to 8 hours. Because of this, Russ himself put out the offer that if anybody could complete this 8-hour torture session, that they would be rewarded $20,000 right up front. This claim has been said to be false though, as many people have stated that Russ always pulls the plug on the experience once somebody's getting close to $20,000, hence no money. So I could do an entire video on this one alone, and I might, but let's just get to the experience itself. So if you're insane enough to do this, you're brought out to an unknown location and forced to sign an extremely lengthy waiver, 45 pages long. Absolutely insane. After you are dragged and thrown into McKamey Manor, where you are tortured physically and psychologically. They pretty much do everything you can think of to you. Waterboarding, drowning, making you eat unappetizing things and creatures and all kinds of things, tying you up, beating you up, putting you in boxes, cutting you. I mean, literally anything you can think of. I've seen videos of them cutting their hair and stuff like that, and what's crazy is that all of this is actually filmed and put on McKamey Manor's YouTube video as well. So if that wasn't bad enough, you also get humiliated, and you can have all your friends and family ask you, why on earth did you do that? It is literally by definition voluntary torture, and really isn't even an attraction if you want to even call it that, but it would be disservice not to include it on this list. Oh, and there is technically a safe word, but it's been said that Russ and his crew sometimes ignore this and still continue their actions of torture. I may go deeper into this one later on, as there's a lot to kind of uncover, and there's been some extra controversy with Russ McKamey himself. He's been charged with a few things, but I may do something on it, but let me know below if you want to see that. But there you have it, the most intense haunts in America. Those are just some of the ones I found most interesting, but there's actually quite a bit more than that. Some are running and some are not anymore. And if you like this content though and want to see more, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video for more. And comment below which one of these would you try if you had to. Or if you're that crazy already, which one of these have you already tried? And I'd love to hear the experiences, I'd love to hear what you guys think, but let me know below. Thank you very much for watching this very intense spooky video, and I will catch you on the next one. Stay spooky, y'all.